tip number 2 is having the right onboarding process, right? So it's one thing to have the environment.
New recruits?
Okay, so you want to onboard, your new recruits for sure, but if you're transitioning from an old culture to a new one, you also want to onboard the existing employees as well. It's important because as much as you plaster all your core values on the wall, you talk about it and you whatever it may be, it doesn't mean they get it. It doesn't mean they really understand what it means, right? So
I like that. So the onboarding is for your existing staff, not only for new hires, it's for existing staff because they also need to learn how to play the game. It's a new game that you're introducing. They need to learn that.
You're right. So it's kind of like, the rules of the game has changed. And you can't expect the current players to know how it works. You have to transition them as well. And it's really important to make this process as seamless and comfortable as possible, right? If you think about playing a new game, learning to play the game is incredibly difficult. Say there are 100 rules and they throw all 100 rules at you at once when you log into the game for the first time, you're most likely going to close that game and just look away, right? Like, I'm not going to play this, it's too complicated. So you want to make sure that it's very comfortable and very seamless. And that also falls on behavioral design as well, to make it so that it's very easy for people to digest these new things, these new rules or these new guidelines. And when you teach them or onboard them properly, you're able to provide them the ability to be able to kind of live and breathe the core values and the culture. And people always assume, this is straightforward, teamwork. Who doesn't know what teamwork means? Who doesn't know what innovation means? Yeah, we know what it means by definition, but just because we read the same words doesn't mean we know what it really means to us, right? And it's really interesting because we've done a lot of different exercises, using things like Lego Serious Play and things like that. And we ask simple questions like, what does innovation mean to you? And everyone comes up with different answers. And everyone gets very surprised, like, hey, I never looked at it that way. I'm surprised you thought of it this way. So you want to make it clear what this means, and you want to show them what are the best practices and behaviors that align with these core values and the culture as well. And that takes the guesswork out of everything. When they know, like, I know this means this, it doesn't mean that, right? And I should do more of this, I should do less of that, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing, or less ideal. And when they go into the company, they step into the office or whatever virtual environment they have currently, they feel more confident. And when they're confident, you give them the ability, they feel empowered. And they're empowered, they will live and breathe the culture eventually. So you want to set up a system or some sort of way to be able to give them feedback as soon or as often as possible, right? So in your onboarding process, ideally, if you can, try to make it like a 3-day pack of sitting down, looking at slides of what the core values are, blah, blah, blah. You want to give them a chance to actually practice the core values and just observe them from afar, right? So maybe have direct reports or a more senior colleague to be around to observe them. And if they do something wrong, make it part of your culture to kind of give feedback and say, hey, look, when you did this thing or you said that, you may not realize it, but it made people feel this way or it comes off differently. So you might want to be careful and try not to do this too much, right? We know that you're not trying to offend anybody, but you may not realize it. So we just want to give you this, this feedback. And when you do this often enough and at the right time, people will make micro adjustments to their behaviors, right? Because people are not inherently bad. People are just, they just don't understand things. And when they don't have time to correct it and they already set in their ways, it becomes very hard to unlearn and relearn. So give them the feedback when they should hear it, and then they're able to adopt these values properly and accurately a lot quicker as well.